Hi guys, welcome to part 3 of this tutorial series on hard lighting. This is hopefully the last part, but this is going to be just on the retouching, which I should have made part 2 because you should actually do this first before you do any of the color filters. So I'm actually going to use this picture that Loam Lindy took of me at Sakura Matsuri that I found in my camera. Thanks Loam, by the way, for making me look handsome. So basically, the problem, as you guys can see here, is this really spotty lighting. And this is shot in RAW, which is why it opens in this window in Photoshop. So this is a RAW image. You should always shoot RAW, especially in these situations, because you can control what it ends up looking like. You have more control. You have all these bars here. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna try to recover these highlights, because if I go back enough, you'll see that there is information there. I don't have any information here in the shirt, but I do have it on the face, which is important. So I'm gonna try to recover it as much as I can. This is gonna flatten it, obviously, but just try to get as much as I can. So as you can see, it's like -75, which is a little drastic, but it is what it is. I'm gonna make it a little warm, so it's a little shoujo-y. My skin is an olive undertone, and I'm wearing this terrible yellow wig, so it's a little hard to color balance to my skin. So I am gonna keep it a little on the warm side, but it is what it is, like I said. So I think this is as good as it's gonna get in the RAW window. You want to do as much as you can in the RAW, like I've mentioned before, because this is where you're gonna get the most out of your photo. I would do this in Lightroom because I don't really know how to, oh, here we go. The brush thing, in Lightroom this is a lot easier for me, but you can actually brush in some of this, and it will actually do like spot healing. So I can actually do like this brush thing and like lighten areas and darken other areas. I would do this in Lightroom, like I said, because I can control it better. I know Lightroom a little better. So I'm just gonna leave it at like here. I didn't even do anything to that, because it's just easier for me. Like, this is hard for me, this like adjustment thing in this window. It's like awkward for me, so I'm just gonna leave it. So I'm gonna open the image. Sorry, it's slow. It's gonna be a long video, I can already tell. Okay, so first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go to mode and you're gonna change this to 16-bit channel. This is gonna take more memory, so make sure you just have some open space. But this is basically gonna give you a higher color range. So we're gonna do that, and it's gonna make your transitions a little smoother so that everything looks a lot more seamless. So I'm gonna zoom in. The first thing I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna liquefy my shoulder pad because I was supposed to make a pin in my jacket and I didn't do it because I got a little lazy there towards the end, and so it bunches up right here. See that bunch up? That's from the shoulder pad, so I'm actually just gonna smooth this out, which doesn't really help this problem, but it makes this look a little better. Okay, so once you got that, the biggest problem, like I said, is this weird shadow light. I have really bad skin, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go in and I have piercings on my face. For you people who know me personally, you know I have piercings. Oops, wrong tool. So I'm gonna go in with the spot healing, the healing brush tool, not the spot healing, the healing brush. And on Mac, it's all the Option key. Is what gives you the sourcing tool. I don't know what it is on Windows. I'm sorry, it might be Control or something, but I have anyway, I have piercings on my face, so first thing I'm gonna do is get rid of the holes and any birthmarks and any acne that may be floating around.
Show me that you care. The love's not just a flare on my sleep. Sleep well. I pray that cardboard boxes set the perfect stage. 'Cause wood grain makes all man-made things seem so out of date. Life is not a play, it's what we make of the people we love.
Okay, so once you've kind of healed it as much as you think it's gonna get healed, I could go on, like I have all these little blemishes. I'm gonna just leave it for now. We're gonna focus here. Actually, you see this little hair shadow? Like when you have these singular shadows, you can actually just go in with the tool and just slowly kind of pull them out. It's the same process for hair. You just kind of go in really close and you just, with a really small brush, you just kind of trace it. And it will automatically kind of fix itself. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep doing this as I talk. So up there in the shadow area, what we're gonna do, this is a difficult kind of thing because it's so, like as you guys can see, as soon as you get close to it, it kind of does that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a high pass layer. I taught you guys how to do that in the last tutorial. It's the same process, and basically what you're doing when you do this is you're isolating the textures. So it's a very useful thing to know how to do. I know a lot of people don't use this, but it's really helpful, and it's really helpful for retouching. So what you're going to do is you're going to make this high pass layer black and white and overlay. And you can do higher than this. I think this is fine because it's a pretty drastic difference. And I'm going to mask it, and I'm going to invert it so that it's black mask layer. And then I'm going to just turn it off for now. And I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to try to clone stamp this and heal brush tool it, continuously sampling, and try to get it as smooth as possible. This is a hard, tedious thing to do, so I'm just gonna like speed through this part, and you guys can just watch me do this.
Snails see the benefits, the beauty in every so why are you quick to kiss? Or she bites apples and leaves. God damn you shrubbery. Oh, I'm sick of vanity. Play. Should we move to the UK? 'Cause life here in the States has escaped all people.
Okay, so that's as much as I could get out of it. Like as you guys can see, it's really rough. It's a terrible, it looks bad, honestly. If I zoom out, you can see, like, it just looks bad. This is why I say that it's easier to just shoot it correctly to begin with. So I'm gonna take this clone stamp, which I don't recommend doing because it makes the plastic look, but that's why we have the high pass layer. And going in and just softening the shadow, and going into the eye bags a little bit. Don't go all the way in because you have this like seam now, and just I'm gonna do this everywhere now. Since I'm doing the clone stamp, I'm gonna just kind of lighten these, try to even these out, lighten these darker areas. I'm doing this at 10%, as you guys can see up here. I'm just trying to keep it subtle. It's really hard to do without making it look plastic, which is like, you know, the bane of Photoshop. So I'm just gonna try to fix as much as I can. I'm gonna soften these shadows a little bit. I'm gonna go around my whole face and do this.
Oh, I'm sick of vanity.
I'm gonna leave this hard line here. You have to occasionally leave hard shadows in, just so that it doesn't look as plastic. Like, trust me, like if you look at those retouch jobs that look super fake, it's usually because there's no shadow light like gradation. Like, it's like such a smooth thing that it looks plastic, because like your face has hard lines in it. You know, your face does have hard lines in it, so try not to get rid of everything, even though you are smoothing things out. So like as you guys can see, it looks really different already. Even just getting rid of the spots on my face makes it look really different. I didn't even get rid of all of them, because there's some stuff like here, which I can just kind of do that too. So this is obvious. This right here is obviously been smoothed out, because I had to make pixels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this high pass layer, and it still looks really fake, but I can actually bring back some of the texture. So I'm going to do that by turning that layer back on and just kind of drawing this in. By bringing back some of that texture, and I'm going to do this to my whole face, I'm going to bring back a little bit here and there. This is at 30%. Here it still looks pretty fake, but I brought it in there the most. So as you guys can see, some of the lines come back. I'm still not in love with it, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a snapshot, and I'm going to go back to the original. So the snapshot basically keeps what you just did. I'm going to go back to the original, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it on top of my new thing. So it brings everything back. I'm going to make a mask, invert it again, and I'm actually going to take a light brush and I'm going to draw some of this back in, because I actually don't like how it ended up looking. So I'm going to actually bring some of it back. You can do that. It's not going to give you that plastic look, but it is going to look more realistic. If I zoom out, you see that that weird shadow kind of ends up looking a little bit like a mark on my face. So I'm going to mold it again, I'm going to merge it again, and I'm going to go again and try to fix it. This is a very, like I said, tedious process. So I'm doing the high pass because I want to preserve that texture. I'm going to do the hue saturation again, make sure it's black and white, and I'm going to mask and turn it off. Mask, invert, overlay, and turn it off. And then I'm going to go back to the bottom layer, and I'm going to try to fix this again. It's trial and error, you really have to keep going back and forth. There's nothing else you can do unless you get it right the first time.
Should we move to the UK? 'Cause life here in the States has a state.
Okay, so once we have that smoothed out, sort of, if you zoom out it looks a little better. That's just I think as good as it's gonna look. I think that's just as good as I can get it. I'm gonna do the high pass again just on this spot to make sure that it's not like plastic. There is still some plastic stuff happening because sorry, there's a truck outside my window. Because that's just how much is gonna happen. So I'm gonna copy this again, and I'm gonna actually add some noise, and that should bring back some texture. That should make some fake texture. So I have it at uniform, monochromatic, 4%. See, there's some weird stuff happening. So I'm gonna lower it to 3. See how that looks. Basically what this does is you're making fake texture. So if I turn this off, you'll see it's like really smooth. It's making fake texture. So I'm gonna do another mask, and I'm actually gonna draw it in really light because you saw it was really obvious. So I'm just gonna draw it a little bit right in that area. That's kind of what I do when I go a little plastic. I like just put in some noise and it kind of recovers a little bit of texture. So we're gonna flatten this. And that's basically it for the retouching. As you can see, my face still looks a little spotty. There's a lot of spotty light, so I'm gonna multiply. I'm gonna copy another layer and I'm gonna multiply it. And you see, you get this dark shit happens. So I'm gonna mask it, invert, same process. I do this for everything. Like I said before, you can darken with curves. You can also darken this way. There's a lot of ways of doing things in Photoshop. I don't have one specific way of doing things because I was taught by multiple people. So I know, and YouTube obviously, so I have like multiple techniques for the same stuff. So I'm just gonna darken this. Be careful. That was a little too far. Just darken stuff here and there. I'm gonna darken the jacket a little bit. Like I showed you guys before, there's no information in these white spots, so no matter what I do, it's not gonna come back. I'm just gonna darken it to give it a little more contrast. Your eye is always gonna go to the lightest spot in the picture. That's just how the human eye functions. So automatically, your eye's probably gonna go here. But Loam did do a good job with the composition. So even though your eye might start here, it will travel up. Just because she did like this V-shape composition here with the hand. So, and this is a lot more appealing than this is. So your eye does travel around the frame a little bit. So she did a good job shooting it. It was just the lighting, just spotty for everybody. So that's how I would retouch it. I'm gonna just run it real quick through the last few steps, which is part 2 of the tutorial, which I'll link. But basically the actual editing part. So I'm just gonna rush through this so you guys can see what it'll look like when it's finished.
What we make good, those people we snails see the benefits, the beauty in every inch. So why are you quick to kiss, baby? Maybe I spoke too soon. I've taught you once you make the first move. Snails see the benefits, the beauty in every
Sorry about that. I was trying to do a vignette, but you saw how retarded that was. It was just so long. My computer's running out of memory. Anyway, yeah, so this is what it would look like in the end. What I would do is when you're done, change it back to 8-bit, and then save it, flatten and save, like always. And that just makes it smaller. This is a huge file, I think. I have no idea, but this is probably a huge file. Anyway, as you guys can see, that's as good as it's gonna look. If I go all the way back, that's what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. That's as good as it's gonna look in any case, which is alright. It's not terrible. I actually went with a different image for the final image. I went with this one that Loam also took. Give it. Okay, this is the one I went with. I think the lighting was better. It was just more attractive. My crappy wig also looked better in that picture. So I went with this one. It's the same process though. I probably did something different to my face. But the lighting also was better. So I can't even tell you what I did because I did that a little while ago now. But this is an overall better image. Though I also didn't have to do anything to my lighting here. To the light on my face because it wasn't that bad. And as you can see here, I actually had to go in a lot. So if I zoom in and show you guys the difference, you'll see that like this one, I did a lot more smoothing here, so it looks a little more plastic, but the shadows are still here. Like I didn't do anything to these so much. I pretty much just retouched my face. I didn't retouch these shadows because they weren't unappealing like these were. So if you have something like this, I would obviously pick this over this, and it would give you less work to do. So yeah, that's that. I hope I answered any questions. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to ask them. Please remember that there are multiple ways to get things done in Photoshop. So if you have any, anything that you would do differently, feel free to drop a comment. There are multiple ways to get things done. If you don't like how I did it, I'm sure someone else has a way of doing it. Yeah, I mean, that's that. I'm gonna put links to the previous tutorials at the bottom here, and I'm gonna link you guys to my Facebook page so you can follow me if you want. I don't do tutorials often, but I do them on request. So if you have any questions about any retouching or anything like that, just let me know. I will try to do my best. I also want to get some videos up about actual shooting videos, so hopefully that'll happen eventually. I'm going to try to get at least a little bit done at ANeXT, since I am going to be helping Loam probably with her shooting, so I will work on that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and good luck with everything. Have fun retouching.